welcome to the Malti-Kulturali Xjenza or Teknoloġija program. Today I'm joined with expert paleontologist Ms Rochelle Xerri to dive into the topic of paleontology. So, Ms Xerri, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, thank you. Could you delve into the role of being a paleontologist?
So, as a paleontologist, and to a lesser extent a zooarchaeologist, I look at fossil animal bones, vertebrates mostly, meaning animals with a backbone, and I look at these bones from palaeontological or archaeological sites. Part of my job is to identify them and see what questions we want to answer about that particular site, and about, for example, climate change or human behavior, and to analyze them depending on what we want to answer.
And what is something that people wouldn't expect about the paleontology industry?
So maybe lots of people would think that we spend a lot of time digging in the field, but this is really only if there's ongoing excavations, which is actually quite rare. Most of our time is spent in the lab or reading, writing, doing research, analyzing data and things like this.
Okay. What tools or methods do you use when you're analysing fossils?
So this depends on the question you want to answer, but I would say the most basic tool, if you can call it that, is to have a comparative collection of skeletons, maybe of modern animals even, and this will help you identify any fossils you might find, which usually come in fragmentary states as well. So that's the first kind of building block that you need. And then it depends what you'd like to answer. For example, if we're looking at diet, we might want to look at cut marks on bones under a microscope. These would show, for example, patterns in... There's very microscopic patterns that you can kind of tell if they're cut marks. And then if you want to look at climate change, for example, based on your animal assemblage, you'd want to aggregate all the number of fossils you have and compare the abundances. And this would mean you need to use statistics programs like R. So it's a mix of everything, depending on what you want to answer.
Okay. Why is paleontology important for understanding Maltese history?
So paleontology looks at mostly Malta before we know that hominids or humans were even on the islands. And this is important because we get, through these fossils, we get an idea of what the climate was, what animals were here, which are now extinct, and what the effect of isolation on islands has done to affect the evolution of these animals. Because when we're looking at these animals, we're not just looking at, what are they? They also answer a lot of different questions. And as islands especially, we're quite vulnerable to climate change. So seeing the effects of climate change on animals in the past can help us even to form strategies for conservation right now in the immediate future.
Okay. What new discoveries are exciting you most as of right now?
So there's, of course, the Island Lab project, which has recently published about Latnia, as you know. I've been involved with that project as well. And through that project, we're seeing a bit later in time than our Dalam, we're seeing the kind of hunter-gatherer populations, what they used to eat, what there was on the islands at the time. And this is another piece of the puzzle between the fossils of our Dalam and what we know later about the Neolithic. Okay. There's also the Finbank site, which I personally worked on the fossils of the small animals. And this site was exciting because it's a bit later in time than our Dalam. So it's another piece of the puzzle there. So we're kind of filling in the gaps in the record that we know of. Okay. And this was an important comparative site to our Dalam.
Okay. I'd like to ask some questions about how to help out the Maltese youth. How can students in Malta learn more about fossils in paleontology?
So of course, there would be the National Museum of Natural History and the Ardalam sites that give information to visitors about paleontology and our local fossil record. There's of course the student passport at Heritage Malta, which they can use to get access. And I mean, there's a lot of free information, free sites that they can, if they're interested as a hobby. I mean, the internet is their oyster. And then about local paleontology specifically, if they want to study this, unfortunately there isn't a tertiary course specifically in this subject, but you can also study one of the adjacent areas like geology, archaeology, which is what I studied, or earth sciences, and maybe at master's level you can specialize like I did.
Okay. What advice would you give to students wanting to follow this as a career path?
So if they cannot go abroad, of course, because abroad there would be specific courses for this. Like I said, they can study a related subject at university, like geology or archaeology or earth sciences, and maybe they can specialize later in their at master's level.
Okay. Well,
they can always advocate as well to for the university to offer specific programs for paleontology.
Okay. That's very interesting. Thank you for all of your questions so far, or answers so far. They've been great. We will be back after a short 2-minute feature.
To many, Malta may just be a small island in the middle of the Mediterranean. However, what most don't know is that it is rich in terms of paleontological history. Millions of years ago, many animals that are no longer found in Malta nowadays were a part of Malta's natural environment. In recent years, paleontologists help us identify and picture what Malta's wildlife was like way before humans inhabited it. Many years ago, the Maltese Islands were completely submerged underwater, which is why marine fossils such as shark teeth and shells are embedded within Maltese limestone. These are the most common types of fossils that are found in Malta by paleontologists today. By studying these fossils, paleontologists can determine how long ago animals lived in Malta, how environments changed over the years, and how earth environments like ocean and land have changed too.
Hello and welcome back. The feature showed us some beautiful visuals of the fossils we can find in Maltese museums. So, I would like to ask, how old is the oldest fossil found in Malta?
So from the most secure dates that we have right now, there are over 160,000 years old, and this places them in the middle of the Pleistocene era. And in this era we can see dwarf hippopotamus and dwarf elephants. There's also other animals like the giant dormouse, giant swan. And this is what really, this is what happened before, Malta was again connected to Sicily via a land bridge. And an influx of new animals came in and changed the configuration of animals again.
Is there anything special or unique about the paleontology of the Maltese Islands?
So what's special about Malta, again, is that it's a group of islands, and these islands were intermittently connected with the mainland through Sicily and Italy. So through studying evolution in the past in Malta, we can see the effect that this intermittent connection had on the fauna that were existing at the time. And we can't forget this was a period of climate change, so it was still the Ice Age. And you had periods of cooling and warming and cooling and warming, so it wasn't always cold. And these cooling and warming periods kind of raised or lowered the sea level. So studying the fossil record, we can understand how these animals adapted or didn't adapt to these situations. So, for example, we have dwarf elephants and dwarf hippos. This is why are they dwarfed? This is called something that paleontologists call the island rule, which is this observed phenomenon that animals which spend a long time in isolation, or large herbivores like elephants, tend to grow smaller to adapt to these situations. And we try to understand why this happened. Is it, lack of competition? Is it competition for resources? Is it connection with the mainland? But this is a phenomenon that's also observed in other Mediterranean islands and other groups of islands around the world. And it's interesting to study this in other contexts as well. There's also the giant dormouse, like I said. So there's the reverse phenomenon happening on the other hand, where the small mammals tend to grow larger for some reason. And we think this is also maybe a lack of competition with other similar mammals that are competing for the same food niche. And of course, we can answer these questions better when we have a more complete record from different time periods. So later we can understand why these dormouse went extinct. So was it the introduction of a new mammal that competed for the same food, or was it introduction of a predator, for example? So everything contributes to the bigger picture.
Okay. Is there any particular thing you prefer working on in paleontology, or do you just love working on all of it? And why?
Well, my specialization, which I did for my master's, was the smaller vertebrates. So I was looking at shrews, voles, which are small rodents, which are now extinct from the islands, and also small reptiles and toads. And what and these animals in particular are very good at detecting patterns in climate change, since they're a bit more sensitive and they're more abundant. So you can more properly get a picture throughout, the sequence. And the reptiles are very interesting because there haven't been many studies on fossil reptiles before. And in fact, through my studies, we discovered that snakes had been present on the islands since the Ice Age, at least some family of snakes. We don't know the species yet exactly. And we also found the wall lizard, the Gramshula. We also found it in the Ice Age as well. So that has been probably also, we know from genetic studies, it has been there even since we were connected to Africa. So it's one of our oldest endemic animals, which is interesting.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Xerri, for joining us. This concludes all the questions we have for you today. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching another episode of Malti-Kulturali.
Thank you.